All right, we are live. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with a live examination of Carlo Rossi White Zinfandel. And joining me today is Ronald Terrio of Louisiana Beer Reviews. He has done an examination on his channel with James P. Madonna of Progressive Discussions, which I would have joined if I could have had the wine at that time, but I did not. It was a real pain in the butt for me to get this. I had to special order it twice for them to get the right product. So it's not very popular here in my area. But anyway, I'm very excited to try it. White Zinfandel is a little bit sweeter style of wine that I think I might enjoy. So thanks for joining me, Ron. And I will defer to you and let you give a little bit more information about this wine. I know it's E&J Gallo out of Modesto, California, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. You know a lot more about it than I do, so you have the floor.
Thank you. It's very strange that you and I have the same wine, but it's not the same, because I have Carlo Rossi White Zinfandel 8.5, and you have Carlo Rossi Reserve White Zinfandel 7.5.
Right.
Now, explain that. It's an unusual unusual thing. Even their website says we introduced this wine in 1975, and then the website goes on to explain how really it was 1962. Wow! And yours has a tighter.
I can't. Yeah, I might have to step away for a minute to get this open. Good Lord.
That means it's reserved for weightlifters. It's reserved for muscle men. You might have to get a.
I'm gonna. You could talk about the company for a little bit. Let me go see if I can get this open. My goodness.
Amazing. All right, folks. Well, let me tell you what's going on here. They say on the website. Okay, here it says best white Zinfandel. I mean, I guess they think theirs is the best since they're making it. But it's just saying makes for parties and picnics. It's well-balanced blend of strawberry watermelon flavors. Goes with simple dishes like spinach salads and crab cakes. Well, I ate a spinach salad today, actually, before I had the main lunch. And it says on our story, it says, blah, blah, blah. In 1962, Carlo Rossi Red Mountain wines were introduced and quickly became one of the winery's top sellers. By the time 1975 rolled around, Red Mountain was removed, but it is still in use on some labels. So it's the company saying, we no longer call it Red Mountain wine, although some of the labels still say it. And it was introduced in 1975, but really it came out in 1962. And then they're showing on their website Carlo Rossi White Zinfandel, but you bought a bottle that says Carlo Rossi Reserve. So there's proof right there, like I've said for years, that a lot of these companies put out alternative products.
Right.
And so I poured this in a beer glass. I guess I shouldn't have, but you can still see it's clear. It's that orange, red look, orange, pink. Orange.
Right. They definitely look the same, and mine is in a beer glass as well because I only have a couple of wine glasses. But this is a wine-style glass, more or less.
Yes, and James P. Madonna was talking about how he also agreed that it had that acidic strawberry flavor. It's only made with grapes, okay? But the company says that it has an unusual strawberry taste. And
it smells very sweet. And I do kind of pick up on like some strawberry aromas. It smells very tart as well, like it's going to be very tart. But it smells like it's going to be very sweet, which I think that's a plus for me because I really like sweet wines. So,
yeah, strawberry and watermelon, it says. And we were fascinated by the history of the White Zinfandel process of winemaking because when it came out in 1975, White Zinfandel, and I don't think Carlo Rossi White Zinfandel has been around too long, but it was actually a wine process that was discovered on accident. A guy had some White Zinfandel reject wine. He didn't call it that. He just had this reject wine. He said, let me put this over here and I'm going to throw this out later for a company called Sutter Home, which is an independent company. Then later on, he tasted it and he said, golly, this tastes better than the wine I was trying to make. So he just called it White Zinfandel and made it its own style. And it became one of the most popular styles in America. And we found it fascinating that it was a mistake wine.
Right. Yeah, that is pretty interesting, especially considering, like you said, that it's one of the most popular styles of wine today.
Now, the wine snobs look down on it as being like a mass-produced consumer product that only imbeciles enjoy drinking. You know, people that don't really know what wine is about.
Right.
Like my neighbor across the street said, White Zinfandel is for people who don't know how to drink wine. I'm pretty sure I know how. Look, see, I'm drinking. Look.
Right. Cheers. And I'm going to go ahead and get into mine too. This is my first time having it. It does smell very strawberry forward, not really as great forward as I thought it would be. It's definitely tart and strawberry forward on the aroma. So cheers.
Cheers to you. Salute. Slungivar.
Very nice. Definitely strawberries, and then the grapes are coming through on the palate. I wasn't picking them up on the aroma, but there's definitely a great presence on the palate. It is very tart too, which I like. You know, I'm a big sour beer lover, and I like the port wines, the sweeter wine. So this is kind of like a combination of a lot of different things that I like all in one package. So
kind of working out, huh?
Yeah, very sweet, definitely tart. You're getting the strawberries, you're getting some grape skin, but the strawberries are actually more in the lead than the grape flavor. And obviously, like you said, they don't make this with strawberries, but there's a definite strawberry presence on the nose and on the taste as well.
Yes, and it even has that little underlying watermelon note.
Watermelon. Let's see.
Underlying, not predominant.
Yeah, in the background there is a little bit of a watermelon thing, but the strawberries are definitely, that strawberry taste is really prominent with this one. I like it. I'm glad I could finally get it.
Yeah. The price you paid wasn't worth the torment to go through it, I guess.
No, it was worth. I like the challenge of being able to find stuff like this. Because I knew it was available. I knew that just from talking to different stores and some of the people that I talked to, for whatever reason, some of the Carlo Rossi and the Livingston Cellars as well, both very big, popular wines in the area. For whatever reason, 2 or 3 of their wines out of each line don't sell very well, so they don't stock them. And most of the stores can actually order them for you, but they don't really like to do that because it's a hassle. And then they end up, you can't really just order one bottle. They have to order a certain amount to keep in stock. And then they're worried that they're not going to be able to sell them. So they really don't like to do that too much unless you tell them, hey, you order 10 bottles, I'll buy all 10 of them up front, you know, whatever. But, you know, that's not something they typically do. And obviously the one that I got is not even the same one that you have. So,
I know. I can't go
website, they don't really disclose any differences or like, hey, this is you know, they don't even disclose anything about the reserve line. So
they don't even have it on the website. So it makes you wonder. It's almost like they have this as a backup. Like if they make a batch and it's, oh crap, it came out a percentage too low alcohol. Oh, well, we ain't throwing it away. That'll just be sold as Carlo Rossi Reserve. I mean, you know, what could the explanation be? It's got to be something like that, you know?
Right. I mean, and it's not like a subtle, I mean, we're talking an entire % alcohol difference between the two that we have, which is, to me, that's significant when you're talking about alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like yours is off or spoiled or rancid or anything.
No, and the color, I mean, they look the same on camera.
Same color.
And the flavors that we're both describing are the same. So it's definitely similar, if not identical in flavor. Yeah. It's just one of those things that, I mean, I don't know. I can't really explain it. I don't know why they do it. Your reasoning is probably as good as any, that they, it's not quite what they wanted for the standard line. So they put it in the reserve line, and they sell it as pretty much the same thing. And you have to really like keep your eyes peeled to notice that it's different. The label's different and the ABV's different.
Kind of like the Jack Daniel's green label.
Right. Yeah. That's only sold in a few states, though, or is that only sold in Texas?
Apparently Texas, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and 2 other states.
Oh, wow. Okay.
New Jersey and some other state. But even the Jack Daniel's doesn't acknowledge it on their website. They don't list it as one of their brands when it clearly is a separate name. It's Jack Daniel's No. 7, not Old No. 7. Has an entirely different label. But if you read their website carefully, which I'm sure most people don't do, it'll say under frequently asked questions that the green label is a younger Jack Daniel's that was not properly exposed to heat in the warehouse. It was at the center, lower down in the warehouse. But I mean, something's got to be in the middle. So it's probably the leftover bourbon that they didn't use in their blend, and they're not going to throw it out. So they just sell it under the green label for a few dollars cheaper. Now, this could be the same thing. We don't know. We'll never know, I'm sure. We're just not going to know. We're never going to find out.
Right. And this isn't the first one that I bought that was like this. I believe it was the Rhine, the Carlo Rossi Rhine that I bought, which was another one that I had to go on or no, not the Rhine. It was the Blush Chablis.
And
I had to, search high and low for, which I finally found at of all places, the World of Beverage in Fairburn. And that one, we noticed that I think yours was 10% and mine was 11%.
Yeah, right. Same weird thing. Here's another thing. You get the Taylor wines, the Paul Masson, which is coming from Taylor because they bought Paul Masson. Some of the bottles will say California, whatever, and some of them will say American, whatever. If it says American, you can guarantee on the back it's going to say Canandaigua, New York. They mean New York. But if it says California, it's going to say whatever place they got in California. So I've been in a grocery store right there next to New Orleans, and they've had both on the shelf, the California and right next to it, the American. Same company, different ABV, different state. Weird. But most people don't. I bet you most consumers don't even bother looking at that.
Right. And I mean, if we weren't doing what we're doing and paying attention, we probably wouldn't have even noticed because the labels are very, very similar. The only difference is that it says reserve underneath, but it's the same label otherwise. And then, of course, that little tiny print on the bottom that you can see that shows that it's a slightly different ABV. But other than that, the labels are exactly the same. The print is exactly the same. I mean, so.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one more thing before we get off this. I noticed over the years, people sending me photos and making comments about beer that is like that. And they'll say, why is this beer different from what you're drinking? And they'll send me a photo, and I'm like, I've never heard of that. It'd be like a different Budweiser.
Well, yeah, it's funny you mentioned it. I was talking to Tyler Mansell it wasn't today, not too long ago, and he was talking about Old English. He had purchased a bottle of Old English, or a 24-ounce can. And in Seattle, Washington, they get the 7% or 7.5% version as their standard version. And the cans look exactly the same as the ones that we get here, except ours is 5.9, I think. 5.9.
And that's kind of a known, but now that's kind of a known thing. And I think they even talk about that on the Miller Coors website, that there is a West Coast version. Well, yeah, they do talk about it on their nutritional lineup where they give a list of all the beers. But there's some, and that's a weird thing what you're talking about, but there's some that is even like a different name for it that are coming from major companies that just throw me for a loop. But then you don't see them again. It's almost, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's strange. I can't explain it. But I know one thing, if I ever see one of those odd beers, I'm going to immediately buy it, unless the price is outrageous.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
like, here's one I bought. I'll show you this, and then I got to go because, you know, I've got something going on, and then you wanted to do your independent review. I bought this in La Crosse, Wisconsin, right next to the brewery at a grocery store. I saw this once in my life, never saw it again, ever. It's called Colt 45 beer, cold filtered beer, not malt liquor. Colt 45 beer. And I said, what is this? I bought this in 1996. Well, when I saw it, I bought it because I said, this is too strange. Never saw that again in my life. So this is kind of an example of what I'm talking about.
Right.
And I'll show you one more. I was in Baltimore, in the city limits of Baltimore, okay? And people just lost their minds when I showed them this picture, and they couldn't even find it, and they lived in Baltimore or near Baltimore. I saw this on the shelf.
Oh, Bo Ice. Wow.
You've heard of National Bohemian with Natty Bo, Mr. Bo?
That's right.
I saw Bo Ice, and I was like, but it says Bo Ice beer, not Bo Ice lager. You know, a lot of times they won't say beer even.
Right.
So I said, what is this? And I bought the 6-pack. It was cheap. Never saw that again in my life. And there are no video reviews, that's for sure, except for mine. And there's hardly any listing of it on Beer Advocate or Rate Beer, like maybe 10 or 9. And this is in years and years. 9 years later, there's nothing. That's what I'm talking about, these kind of strange items where it's almost like it was a mistake and they just say, let's put it out or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, that's a cool can to have right there. And I didn't realize, I thought that was one that you had like back in 96, or I didn't realize that you actually did a review of that one on your channel. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I bought it in I'm pretty sure I did. I thought I did on Louisiana Beer Reviews. If not, I'm mistaken, but I certainly bought it and I wrote a written review for sure. But it's very strange. And let me try to put this can back in order. Let's see, anything else that's off like that? Well, like the Stag Ice. There's another example. But most people can't even find Stag. Forget Stag Ice. You can't find Stag. All right. So
yeah.
It happens in the wine world, and it might even happen in the liquor world. These peculiar items that nobody can find or even is supposed to find.
Yeah, you know, I think it does happen in the liquor world as well. But the liquor world, though, you can expect that a little bit more because they have these different, you know, the barrel. A lot of times when you get the barrel proof or the higher priced products, every 8 years or so, every bottling is slightly different. So you can expect that with liquor because it's not as controlled as with beer and wine. But for me, it's a little bit strange with wine because that seems to be a little bit more of a mass. It doesn't take as long, obviously, to make wine. You're looking at 4 to 8 years for whiskey, so every bottling is going to be slightly different. And it's clearly stated on the label, and that's why it's cool to have, like, well, I've got a bottle of Jack Daniels used to be 90 proof, the standard Jack Daniels.
That's right. Until 1987. Well, let me say this to you. I am going to have an eagle eye from now on when I go looking for Carlo Rossi, and I'll have my eye open for, you know what, Carlo Rossi Reserve.
Right. I'm pretty sure too. I'm going to have to look back at the video that I did and maybe the examination that we did to see if it said for the Blush Chablis to see if it said reserve on the label, because those percentages were different as well. And I don't recall seeing that, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And I know another thing, like, we get the Paul Masson brandy. You get Paul Masson brandy.
Right.
But in California, there is this strange heart-shaped brandy. It's shaped like a heart, the bottle. It's a Paul Masson, and it's got different names, but it's Paul Masson. And people of California are telling me, like, why don't you get this? I said, I've never seen that in my life, in real life, so they're getting a different variety of things out there that we have no dream of getting here.
Right.
East of the Mississippi, no dream of getting. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you up, but I appreciate you wanting to do this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you joining me. We've got 4 viewers right now. We've got 1 comment. It is Tuesday afternoon, work week, so a lot of people are probably at work right now, but we had the day off, so we decided to do this examination. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, right.
And we've got 1 comment from Instant Rye Play. Says, Hi, John. Well, hello to you, Instant Rye Play. Thanks for tuning in live. We really appreciate it. And anybody out there that hasn't already checked out Ron Ontario's channel, Louisiana Beer Reviews, get on it. He does great beer, wine, and liquor examinations and reviews on his channel. So definitely a great channel to check out.
And I'll say this, I'm going to score it an A.
Yes, and I almost forgot to score mine. I'm going to do a solo review here shortly, but I definitely think it's an A. This is more along the lines of the style of wine that I like to drink. It's more sweet. I like the tartness that it has too, and I like the strawberry and that background watermelon flavor. If you're used to standard grape flavored wines, this one might throw you off guard a little bit, but it's very sweet. It's very enjoyable. It's very fruity, and this would be a good one too. I know you don't really like to do this, and I don't do it too often, but this would be a good one to mix and to make like a spritzer with, because it's so lively with the fruit flavors. You could mix this with like a Sprite or seltzer water and just kind of liven it up a little bit. But it's definitely an A wine, and for $16 for a 4-liter bottle, you can't go wrong.
Or $14.98 where I live.
Right, you seem to get a lot of your stuff a little bit cheaper down there, but either way, a great value. And we'll go ahead and end it there, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for joining me, Ron. That'll do it for the live examination. Hope you guys are all having a great day. And until next time, cheers, everybody.
Cheers to you, people.